Welcome back everyone to a brand new skill cap video. Today we'll be kicking off patch 13.7 by breaking down 10 of the most OP builds for solo queue, 2 for every single role. But before we get into it, be sure to check out Skill Capped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. A new build that has started to emerge over the past few patches consists of Abyssal Mask Maokai. Now, this isn't jungle or support Maokai either though. It's top lane Maokai that is actually flying quite heavily under the radar. Abyssal has been sneakily performing very well on Maokai in previous patches, and it gets even better in 13.7. Abyssal is seeing its health increased from 500 up to 550. This buff not only makes Maokai innately tankier, but it synergizes with his passive and E as they both scale off of health. So, there are a couple of different orders in which you can look to purchase Abyssal. Rushing the item is performing very well and is an option when you are laning against an AP top. In need of a counter to the most broken top laner being Malphite, this Abyssal Rush Maokai does a phenomenal job at shutting him down. If you're not playing against an AP top laner, but the enemy team has magic damage elsewhere, rushing Sunfire and grabbing Abyssal second is what works best. Abyssal isn't actually the only unique part of this build either, as you're going to be building Even Shroud as the mythic item. Even Shroud is slotting in very well as a third pickup to round out the core build. As for the rune page, grab Grasp with Demolish, Second Wind, and Unflinching, followed by Biscuits and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. Last patch we noted how disgusting the 2-item core of Ravenous and Eclipse is for Riven, and there's another top laner equally as strong with it as well. Kled is that champ, and with this build, he's definitely one of the most underrated top laners in 13.7. By rushing Ravenous Hydra, you have immense snowball power due to the AD stacking passive. The wave clear is amazing for Kled as well, since he's a champion that lacks the ability to insta-clear waves without it. With all this AD you're able to stack from Ravenous, it makes the shield from Eclipse insanely strong. Eclipse shield scales off of your bonus AD, so the synergy with Ravenous being the highest AD item in the game is nuts. What ties everything together is actually the Black Cleaver, which you pick up third. In total from these 3 items, you have 70 ability haste, also known as 41% cooldown reduction. Absolutely massive for Kled, giving his ultimate a super low cooldown, so he can constantly be fishing for flank plays. For runes, run Conqueror with Triumph Alacrity and Last Stand, Demolish and Second Wind are optimal secondaries. This next build has been gaining more and more popularity over the past few patches, and it revolves around Crown of the Shattered Queen as Fiddlestick's mythic item. Rocket Belt has been the bread and butter rush for Fiddle for a while now, but Crown is actually outperforming it analytically in solo queue. Now, you might be wondering, well, isn't Crown an item meant for ranged mages? How does it make any sense on a champ like Fiddle who wants to be up close in the middle of fights? Well, Fiddle is a very unique champ in the sense that he always wants to be starting fights from the fog of war, surprising the enemy team with his ultimate. The passive on Crown reduces incoming damage by 75% for 1.5 seconds after you take damage from a champion. When Fiddle dives into a team fight, this 1.5 seconds of reduced damage can be absolutely massive, allowing him to stick in a fight for longer before he needs to pop Zhonya's. Especially in games where the enemy team heavily relies on upfront bursts to take you out, that 75% damage reduction can be a game changer. So the complete core build to run is Crown into Shadow Flame second and Void Staff or Zhonya's third. For runes, run First Strike as the keystone with Perfect Timing, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter are for secondaries. With so many junglers nerfed this patch, Kayn is in a really good spot for solo queue, and this build makes him even more insane. It's Blue Kayn, and you're going to rush a Prowler's Claw into Ghostblade second. This is the ultimate snowball build that gives the enemy squishies very little counterplay. Not only can Kayn traverse through walls with his E, but the added movement speed from Ghostblade combined with the gap close from Prowler's Claw gives him some of the most ludicrous catch power for any champion. The third item to round out this core build is Manamune, so don't forget to grab an early tier to get that stacking. So that you can complete this core build even faster, you're going to run a very specific rune page. First Strike is the keystone rune so that you can farm extra gold early on. You also want to take magical footwear along with Futures Market to save gold. Ingenious Hunter is also quite underrated to reduce the cooldown of Prowlers and Ghostblade actives. It's actually pretty ridiculous how much better this build for Galio is performing when compared to his most popular build. Night Harvester is what you should be running for the rush item, and it's winning a whole 4% more than Everfrost. Night Harvester simply provides you with much more solo carry power than Everfrost. You also really don't need the mana on Galio compared to most mages, so the added damage and haste from Night Harvester Harvester is a great trade-off. The majority of Galio players are going Everfrost into Zhonya's, which is a much more utility-focused build that works best for pro play when you can rely more on your team. Second item with this build is Shadow Flame, so you're actually a legitimate threat to one-shot squishy targets in the mid-game. The thing is, though, is that players are not used to Galio dealing that much damage, so you are going to catch the enemy off guard so often, which gives the build even more power. It's not like you're that much less durable with this build either, as Shadow Flame gives 200 health, while Night Harvester provides 300. By running Aftershock for the Keystone, you got plenty of tankiness while being a much scarier threat at actually one-shotting squishies with your full combo. The most popular mythic items for Annie are Rod of Ages and Ludens, while many players are sleeping on the power of Liandry's. It's not just Liandry's though, as you are going to build Rylai's second for this very sustained damage focused build. Ludens into Shadow Flame works great when against a full squishy enemy comp, but into more bruisers or tanks, it's not that amazing. This is where the Liandry's and Rylai's build is perfect and needs to be played way more. The percent health damage from Liandry's help to shred through health stackers, while the slow from Rylai's allows you to stick on your targets to continue dealing lots of consistent DPS. Our challenger mid laner Shori actually has a full game commentary where he ran this build that you can check out on our website. Another key to this setup consists of running Ghost as your secondary summoner spell. You want to be as mobile as possible in teamfights, weaving in and out around your spell's cooldowns, and Ghost helps with that tremendously. Ghost combined with the Rylai's slow really shores up Annie's main weakness of being a shorter range mage. For the rune page, run Electrocute with Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, and Relentless Hunter, followed by Mana Flow and Absolute Focus for secondaries. Varus has primarily been played with either crit or lethality builds in the past, but his highest win rate build right now is neither of those. AP Varus has shot up in power over the past patch due to the buffs to Nashers in 13.6. 15 ability haste was added to Nashers, which was an amazing buff to Varus, as he is very reliant on his R cooldown for this build to be most optimal. If you've never played or seen AP Varus before, he's an absolute monster at shredding tanks. His W deals a massive amount of percent health damage, which allows him to quite literally one-shot tanks with a full combo. With a tank like Malphite being played a ton in the top lane, running this AP Varus build into those kind of champs is amazing value. The complete core build is a Nashor's Rush into Riftmaker's second and Rabadon's third. Hail of Blades works perfect for the Keystone, as the 3 quick autos synergize amazing with Varus' W passive, as you can stack it up to 3 times. This Neela build has got to be one of the most sustained heavy 3-item cores we've ever seen on an ADC. Rush item is Ravenous Hydra, which provides 10% lifesteal. Second item is Immortal Shield Bow, which offers 7% lifesteal. Finally, the third item is Bloodthirster, giving you another 15% lifesteal. Add it all together and you have a grand total of 32% lifesteal from items alone. But wait, that's not all, because we have Bloodline in runes that adds another 5%, so you have 37% lifesteal altogether. On top of this, you have to factor in the shield from Bloodthirster and the shield from Immortal Shield Bow. The durability and sustain from the build makes Neela one of the most lethal champions in extended skirmishes. Conqueror is the no-brainer Keystone option, as it adds even more healing power to the mix, and oh yeah, you take Triumph as well for yet again more healing. There is this one build for Blitzcrank that is heavily outperforming everything else, and it consists of Everfrost as the mythic item. Way back in 13.1 at the start of the season, only 5% of Blitz players were rushing Everfrost. Fast forward to 13.7, and that number is now doubled, as 10% of Blitz players are now rushing Everfrost. With the play rate of Everfrost going up, you'd expect for the win rate to see a significant drop off, but that has not been the case. Blitz players who rush Everfrost are winning 55% of the time, as opposed to Shurelya's players at 53%. So the stats back up the build being exceptionally strong, but what actually makes it so good? More consistently landing kills off hook plays is the main draw to the item. The root from Everfrost is very easy for Blitz to land when he has the enemy knocked up with E, and will give your team that extra bit of time to follow up and finish off kills. The item also gives Blitz himself more damage, allowing him to chunk enemies for a significant amount due to the 120% AP ratio on Q and 100% AP ratio on R. Blitz, being quite a mana-hungry champion, loves the 600 mana that Everfrost provides as well, letting him stay on the map longer if extended fights break out. Rune page for Blitz is Glacial Augment with Hex Flash, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Run Bone Plating and Unflinching for secondaries. And to round out the video, a build that is extremely broken on the newest champion in League consists of Ardent Censer Melio. Most enchanters have one heal or shield ability. For example, Lulu with her E, Nami with her W, and Sona with her W. Melio, on the other hand, has 2 basic abilities that heal or shield his allies, E being the shield and W being the heal. His ultimate provides an AoE AoE heal as well. So why does this matter in the context of Ardent Sensor? Well, the Ardent Sensor passive can only be procced when you heal or shield an ally, and because Melio has a very easy time doing just that, the item has ridiculous value. You have legitimate potential to provide all 5 of your teammates with the Ardent Sensor passive in a team fight, whereas someone like Lulu can only provide it to a maximum of 1 carry. Staff of Flowing Water also has a very similar passive to Ardent, which is procced off of healing or shielding, so it's just as good of a pickup. Ardent works best when your team is more auto attack heavy since it enhances attack speed, whereas Staff of Flowing Water provides ability power and haste, meaning it's better with spell reliant champs. For the best of both worlds, you can just build both items, as the core of Shurelya's into Ardent and Staff is extremely powerful. Rune Page is airy with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, followed by Bone Plating and Revitalize for secondaries. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about Skill Capped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So there you have it guys, 10 of the most OP builds you can play in patch 13.7. Thanks so much for watching, good luck in solo queue, and we'll catch you in the next one.